Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, August 9th, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is, it is my responsibility to shine my light, to shine my love into the world. We got a little wolf mischief happening back here. Always grateful for wolf sightings, as Wolf likes to remain unseen, largely. And I just wanted to say, I thank everybody for all of your love and support in regards to Joe's healing. I had a friend create a GoFundMe to help support us through this, and I have to say, I am learning it's really hard for me to ask for help. Interestingly, a few weeks ago, a friend asked me if I had trouble receiving, and I was like, no, I don't think so. And this has happened, and I'm like, oh, okay. Asking for help is a challenge for me. Receiving still is a challenge. So I'm putting it out there, the GoFundMe link. You can always support me also by buying readings or joining my patron group, which I do twice monthly gatherings and any extras that I have energy for. But I appreciate all of your support, and we are definitely accepting thoughts and prayers continuing. So that being said, let's dig into this astro today. So I've been watching a theme unfolding. It's what astrology is about. Unfolding patterns, noticing the patterns. And as we build to this full moon on Thursday, which is going to reactivate that Uranus, Mars, North Node conjunction, as we're building to that, we have a bit of a theme of breaking old patterns. The top of the cards I have today is the Rebel card, and I always love to see how there are these old chains being broken in this. And that's part of the theme of Aquarius, or Uranus, which rules Aquarius, is breaking through old patterns, rebelling against energies that no longer work. And that I'm kind of feeling today as we have Mercury in conjunct Jupiter. So we've got Mercury hanging out in Virgo, Jupiter in Aries. And Jupiter in Aries is kind of adding expansion or helping us realize from a bigger perspective what is serving our I am, who we are, and what is not in alignment with that. Now, Virgo is very interesting because Virgo can, be definitely a rule follower, a rule giver. And so in this inconjunct with Mercury, the mind in Virgo, really not seeing eye to eye with Jupiter expanding who we are, we may notice where there are situations, where there are energies that just don't really fit. We actually have a square today as well between the moon in Capricorn and Jupiter in Aries. And moon in Capricorn also representing, the structures that be, the rules. And Jupiter in Aries is like, hey, this isn't working. And I think on a larger scale, we've been going through this for a while, but the pace is quickening. So what we're called to do is notice where who we are does not line up with that status quo. This is what I've been speaking about, right? Like in the scopes and the written ones, and even in the videos the last few days, is just digging into where the status quo, where the things that have been, things that maybe worked for a time are no longer working. And we're being asked to look at that within our lives, within our health, how we're taking care of our bodies, all of that. That's what Virgo energy can represent, our physical body, our daily reality. And with Mercury, we may not be yet ready to put into action the changes, but we're starting to notice what isn't actually working. So take a pause today and notice in your physical body, in your daily environment, as you go about your day, as you go about living, what is no longer serving you? And again, none of this is necessarily like active change energy, but believe me, that's coming in. That's coming in very soon. We're going to have Mars moving through Gemini for like 8 or 9 months, starting a little bit later, about 12 days. We're going to have Mars moving into Gemini. Gemini really brings that energy of change. So now it's starting, like, the time to start noting, like, oh, this isn't working. I don't want to feed into this. Now, this also goes hand in hand with the value work that we've been looking at as well. Tuning in, what aligns with my values and what doesn't align with my truest values. So keep that in mind as you move through this energy. I will also say this inconjunct definitely feels like it may be a day of like miscommunications and misunderstandings, that not seeing eye to eye. You may be speaking about the same thing but speaking two different languages, or you may be speaking the same language but really not understanding one another, trying to bring your personal perspective. Try not to get upset if you find that happening today. This inconjunct just feels very, very topsy-turvy. Now, besides that, we have the moon in Capricorn making a lot of action. Like I said, it will be connecting to Jupiter. We do have that Jupiter square. So again, we may find ourselves like wanting to push against some set in place rules. So be aware of where you want to push against it. And again, check in with your values. How do you align with your values? I really do feel like between aligning with our values and like standing in love, this is where we want to create new world energy from. So be aware of that. Moon will also work with Uranus. Now that's not till later in the day, later in the evening. But again, it feels like this rebel card of breaking through this energy. And speaking of that Uranus energy, Uranus is still hanging out with the North Node at 18 degrees. While it is not exact, it's still right there. So again, working into that alignment of our values and noticing where fear holds us back from that, or old survival instincts may hold us back from that alignment, is going to be really important in and through this. As always, whenever Uranus is around, it may also be kind of triggery, as the Uranus triggers are there to help us in our personal evolution. So notice where that is coming up for you. Again, this could be around rules, this could be around the status quo, this could be around your own values. There's lots of areas for work, and all of this is going to be getting bigger, 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 bigger as we build to the full moon on Thursday. Let's see what other cards we have going on today. We also have Beyond Illusion. Now this card was in reverse. So in reverse, this card is about not necessarily seeing things clearly, still being in the illusion of things. And I think I know where I entertain that in myself, you know, like I am able to, you know, be cool as a cucumber when things are falling apart, right? And meanwhile, like, so I think that there's a lot of that in this world. And I think a lot of people were taught to be that way, right? Like that was always, you know, how my family reacted to things. So be aware that while things may look, it's hard to grasp words. I'm still very sleep deprived, and grasping words is not easy when you're sleep deprived. But while things may look like they're returning to normal, this is probably the best way I can say this. While things may look like they're returning to normal, there is still a lot of shift ahead for us, astrologically speaking, that I'm very aware of, and I'm making you aware of. So be aware of that. Again, we're all part of the change. Be the change in this energy. Don't get too caught up in the illusions that are being put out there. Part of that, tuning in, listening to your own highest guidance, and part of this is also tuning in and being aware of the feels that are coming through, moving through. I do have the schizophrenia card for us for today. This to me feels like the inconjunct. I think this is actually the perfect card. Like that's what an inconjunct is like in astrological feelings. Like that picture right there. So bridging communication may be a little challenging, but just go with it. Just be in the unfolding. So I will put the GoFundMe link below this video. My Patreon link is also there, and my email to email me for readings is also there. And I think I've gotten several things, some oils and some homeopathic medicine and lots of support from so many of you. All of it helps. Thank you so, so much. Besides all this, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your values. Namaste.